It's not wholesome, but it's a whole lot of fun.
Couldn't. Some of them were too extraordinary. And secondly, we sometimes filmed...
That was the occasion when I went home and it was sort of local girl made good.
Diana Rigg, the beauty icon who captivated the whole of England and conquered American audiences through the series The Avengers, not only shined on the screen, but also lived a life full of ups and downs behind the spotlight. For 8 years, she was attached to a married man and then married the one who betrayed her. Why did a talented and beautiful woman like Diana choose to enter into such a hurtful relationship? The answer is hidden behind those proud smiles and eyes. Watch this entire video to discover her mysterious life. Don't forget to subscribe and comment to motivate us to make better videos in the future. Before the spotlight brought Diana Rigg global fame, she had a complicated relationship that lasted nearly 8 years with Philip Seville, a talented director who touched her heart deeply. This was not a romance, nor a fairy tale. It was a life together full of contradictions, between intense love and painful truths that Diana had to gradually face. When she was only 20, Diana found in Philip someone who could understand and listen to her artistic aspirations. They shared the same rhythm of life, from nights immersed in classical music to long debates about Shakespeare's plays. Diana felt that he was the only one who could make her herself. She did not need marriage, did not need a title. Love was enough. But that love could not exist in ambiguity forever. Philip was a talented man, but also had a family. At first, he would have periods of inexplicable absence, disappearing for whole evenings without explanation, then short calls late at night. Although she was very perceptive, Diana convinced herself that it was just the necessity of being an artist, that he just needed privacy. Everything changed one rainy afternoon in London. A call from a strange woman, her voice trembling but determined, who introduced herself as an acquaintance of Philip's wife. She didn't say much, just enough for Diana to understand that she wasn't the only one in his life. After that call, Diana's heart no longer sang sweet melodies. It became silent, painful, and broken. Diana later shared with a close friend that when she opened Philip's wardrobe that day, she found a small box containing a wedding ring and a photo of a family, the man she loved, holding 2 children and another woman. She didn't scream, didn't cry. She just quietly left the apartment, as if the end of a play had ended. Friends recall that for the next few months, Diana continued to work regularly and always smiled in public. But something had changed in her. Her eyes, once filled with innocence, were now clouded with a cold, distant mist. In her diary, she wrote, "I gave up my freedom to trust someone, and that made me forget myself." Although she no longer lived with Philip, Diana maintained a civil relationship with him. She was not someone who easily held grudges. But from that moment on, she became more cautious in all relationships, especially when it came to honesty. She once said, "I don't need a man to complete me, but if I love, it must be a love without secrets." Her first love did not defeat Diana. It tempered her. It gave her the strength to step into powerful roles with sharp eyes and a decisive voice. People see Emma Peel's cold charm, but few know that behind that image is a heart that was once broken by betrayal. After a painful first love, Diana sought stability through marriage to Manick Jeffin, an Israeli painter who entered her life in the early 1970s. At first, it seemed like the beginning of a new chapter, but in reality, it became a series of deep conflicts about values, personal goals, and, ultimately, betrayal. From the very beginning of their marriage in 1973, irreconcilable differences began to emerge. Diana was structured, professional, and rational. Manick was the epitome of a free-spirited artist, living on impulse without following any routine. Diana needed a stable family and a responsible partner. Manick believed that commitment stifled creativity. The clash of these conflicting expectations quickly undermined the foundation of their marriage. Diana began to feel lonely in her own home. Whenever she tried to share her work, Manik would deny it or turn the conversation to his paintings. Conversation between husband and wife gradually disappeared, replaced by silence and a growing emotional distance. What troubled Diana most was the discovery that Manik had been using joint finances for personal art projects without her knowledge. The lack of transparency made her feel disrespected and left out of important decisions. But the real breaking point came when she discovered signs of infidelity, forgotten handwritten notes, strange phone calls, unannounced trips. What had started as a suspicion had now become a painful certainty. The woman who had appeared beside Manik was no longer a vague rumor, it was an undeniable fact. Diana had read the affectionate messages, recognized the changes in his demeanor, the averted eyes, the physical withdrawal. She knew she had been deceived again, and this time, by the very person she had trusted with her life and future. Diana did not get angry or publicly criticize him. Instead, she quietly gathered enough evidence, handled all legal procedures privately, and decided to end the marriage in 1976. She admitted that this was an extremely difficult decision, not because of any lingering feelings, but because she could not bear the feeling of being disrespected. Although the marriage only lasted 3 years, its impact was much deeper. It shook her belief in the concept of commitment. After the separation, Diana withdrew from public life for a period of time to recover. She cut off ties with mutual friends, avoided personal interviews, and devoted all her energy to her stage work. From then on, she was determined never to let anyone control her personal life again. Diana once said that a woman can forgive, but never forget who has hurt her. After her marriage to Monakim, she lived with greater clarity and determination, and never again accepted a half-hearted relationship. After her first marriage ended in pain, Diana found harmony and stability when she married Archie Sterling in 1980. Archie, a Scottish aristocrat, former army officer and theater producer, seemed the perfect match. A man with artistic respect, social status, and clear responsibilities. When their daughter Rachel was born, the first days were filled with joy and hope. Diana poured all the love into her daughter, the love she had lacked throughout her childhood. However, that seemingly solid foundation began to crack. Pressure from both families, public expectations, and the burden of maintaining an international star image gradually took away the peace in their Scottish home. Archie, preoccupied with theatrical projects and professional commitments, gradually became less present in family life. Diana felt that her husband no longer supported or valued her. She sensed a growing distance between them. Suspicions began to surface in the form of secret business trips, unexplained late nights, and suspicious behavior around a young actress. This time, it was no longer a subtle deception. It was an outright betrayal. Diana discovered the truth herself. Emotional handwritten letters, secret meetings, and incriminating photos on Archie's phone. She chose a strong response, demanding a confrontation and immediately filing for divorce when the evidence was incontrovertible. Their divorce in 1990 was more than just the end of a marriage. It marked a turning point in her personal development. When it was revealed that Archie had been having an affair with actress Jolie Richardson, Diana withdrew from the spotlight completely. Sources say she took all of Archie's clothes and donated them to charity as a symbol of closure, cutting off all physical and emotional ties. After the divorce, Diana once again chose silence. Diana did not speak out or exploit the scandal. Instead, she preserved her dignity and quietly rebuilt her public image as a professional artist. Her relationship with her daughter became her top priority. Rachel Sterling once said that although her mother had been betrayed many times, she never lost faith in people. She simply learned how to love without losing herself in the process. Through 3 major relationships, each ending in betrayal, Diana never crumbled. She stood up, learned to protect her autonomy, and set firm boundaries for her emotional well-being. In the end, she no longer attached her life to any man. Instead, she turned every painful experience into strength, shaping the fiercely proud and dignified Diana Rigg that the world came to know and respect. After her third divorce, Diana did not seek another man to fill the void. She chose instead to live independently and peacefully in a quiet countryside home in France, occasionally returning to London to continue her work on stage and screen. No more loud parties, no more flashing lights, just a woman who had lived and now understood clearly what truly mattered in life. Diana kept acting until the very end. In her 60s, 70s, and even into her 80s, she never considered herself past her prime. On the contrary, her later roles on Broadway and, most notably, as Lady Olenna Tyrell in Game of Thrones earned her the admiration of new generations. She didn't need to shout to be seen. A single glance, a sharply delivered line was enough to silence an audience. She was living proof that poise and power know no age. In her final years, she spent more time with her daughter, Rachel Sterling, and lived a life far simpler than one might expect from a global star. No scandals, no extravagance, just books, music, and quiet afternoon walks in the garden. Perhaps, after years of emotional turmoil, Diana finally found what she had always longed for, but never quite had: peace. In March 2020, she was diagnosed with lung cancer. Instead of fighting despair, she chose to live her remaining days gently. She moved to live with her daughter in London. In her final weeks, she remained calm, clear-headed, and always exuded elegance. Diana's loved ones said they had never seen her so at peace. No more fighting, no more fear, just gratitude. Diana Rigg passed away on September 10, 2020, at the age of 82. She never broke down, never let her life be defined by scandal or emotional tragedy. She died as she had lived, proud, quiet, and in complete control of her own story. A woman who, even in her absence, haunts the world with her every glance, every line, and every moment of silence, making the world stop and listen. Diana Rigg is not only a legend of stage and screen, but also a symbol of female strength and pride. She has been through 3 great loves, betrayed many times, but has never let anyone else decide her life but herself. When the world remembers Diana, it is not only because of her wonderful performances, but also because of the image of a woman who dared to love, to let go, and to live life on her own terms. Diana Rigg, the elegant muse of the silver screen, who created the immortal image of Emma Peel in The Avengers, has an irresistible charm. But behind the halo of a powerful woman who forgets herself in the role of a wife are love decisions that surprise the audience's hearts. Let me uncover these hidden aspects to understand why she, the symbol of beauty, talent, and power, returned to such a hurt and torn place. First of all, it all started with a love affair that lasted nearly a decade with a married man, a choice that would seem to make any woman in love hesitant. However, Diana, with her experienced star quality and strong personality, was ready to give her whole soul to that man. Clearly, she is not an easy person to conquer. Is there something about him that makes her feel a special connection, too deep to let go? Maybe the happiness she seeks lies not in traditional frameworks, but in a love full of contradictions, enough to revive her heart, a heart that has missed a beat many times after the roles and bright lights. Please click subscribe to continue telling stories about women who never bow their heads.